Good evening and welcome back to the second part of your favorite Pan-African show, Bottomline Africa. And before we start our studio discussion tonight, let me give you some breaking news reaching us this hour, this moment. There's some sad news, some shocking news for Africa as a continent. We're getting reports that Morgan Tsvangirai, the MDC leader, the opposition leader of Zimbabwe, is dead. We're getting reports that Morgan Tsvangirai is dead. That is the report we're getting at this moment. We're getting very scanty information. But what we know is that he was critically ill in South Africa. That is where he has been receiving treatment. And he has been Robert Mugabe's long-term adversary and leader of the Party of Movement for Democratic Change, MDC, as I've already mentioned. And he was treated for colon cancer. Actually, that is the cause of his death. And until his death, he was suffering from weight loss, muscle thinning, and exhaustion. Once again, reports reaching us from South Africa is that Zimbabwe's opposition leader, MDC leader Morgan Tsvangirai, is dead. He succumbed to his illness at a South African hospital. Of course, we're getting scanty information, but we're going to bring it to you an updated version in our subsequent bulletin. Once again, this is Bottomline Africa, right on KTN News. And tonight, we're going to talk about women and leadership. And in the studio, I have two ladies with me, very vocal about women leadership in Africa. They're Florence Mashio. She is a program manager with Equality Now.
Yes,
good evening, Florence. Welcome to the show. We also have Josephine Mungare, who is the FIDE Kenya chairperson.
Good evening.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Florence, let me begin with you. Earlier in our highlights, we did indicate that, women in Africa don't want just chocolate and flowers and is it cakes for Valentine's? You want something else. Can you perhaps tell us?
And dinner. I think for me, my chocolate or my flowers would be to see inclusion of women in leadership, especially in this country, and to see more progressive election of women in positions of power and in decision-making positions.
Yes.
I would also like to see women and girls being protected, structures being put in place, safe spaces for women in all areas. We just recently had the story of Kenyatta National Hospital and women not being safe even when they are in their most vulnerable of states. So for me, the chocolates and the flowers that I'd like to see that my government or African governments are giving women include safety and includes participation in decision-making positions.
That sounds like a very good Valentine message to the women.
That would be the best.
Josephine, what are your chocolates and roses?
Today, I would like to celebrate the former president of Liberia, Elizabeth Salif Johnson. She just won the Mo Ibrahim Award, and that just shows that women can make it.
Yes.
Through her leadership, she was recognized the last 5 years. There was nobody to take that award. So it just shows that if women are given a chance, an opportunity, they will do it. And that's a choice, that's a chance that has been given to an African woman, and she led the country from civil war to stability to peace, and was able to be awarded one of the prestigious awards in the world. So for me, that's my Valentine, that women have capacity to lead, have proven that they can lead, and world over we've seen countries that are steered by women doing much, much better out there.
Yes. And I did some research before this show, and apparently in the past 20 years, sub-Saharan Africa, if you dispute these figures, but they feel free to dispute them, apparently the continent has achieved some of the most dramatic breakthrough when it comes to women leadership. And it has rose, that is women leadership has rose from 9.8% in 1995 to 23.2% today. Apparently, Rwanda, which has about 63.8% female representation, is the best in the world. I mean, things are not that bad in Africa.
Oh, really?
Let me start with you.
With 23%. I mean,
just 63%.
No, looking just
one Rwanda as an example.
That is just one country out of how many? 50 what?
Okay.
Yeah, so for me, it's just like having 10 children and one went to school and did very well, and the other 9 and never even managed to reach to standard 8. So while I am happy that one child actually did very well, I am worried about my 9 that are not doing very well in school. So Rwanda is doing very well, but
okay,
Kenya.
Let me put it. We're going to come to Kenya shortly. Let me put it this way: 6 out of the top 15 countries in Africa, are African across the world when it comes to women in leadership, and they include Seychelles, which has about 43.8%, Senegal 42.7%, South Africa 41.7%. I mean, Africa is moving in the right direction.
Yeah, but we are not at the top yet, because if we've had 9 women presidents since we started self-rule in Africa. And out of how many male presidents, just remind me?
50-something.
Yeah, we are not doing very well.
Even
We are not doing well at all. We can do better. I was in Senegal late last year. And yes, in the county governments, they had 47%. In the national government, they told me the women representative is quite high, actually, above 42. But those are like tokenism. Countries that have made deliberate efforts to make sure women are at the top. Rwanda, it was a deliberate effort.
Yes.
Tanzania next door is at 33%. Uganda is ahead of Kenya. So Africa, and South Africa is at 42, by the way. If Africa made a deliberate effort, we can be at 50-50. Why are we talking about percentages? We are 52% in Kenya. The population of women is 52%. Why should we be having 23% in Kenya? Why?
And
why are we not at 50%?
And speaking about Kenya, Florence, apparently, Kenya is ranked number 75.
Imagine.
How nice.
And countries like Eritrea, Ethiopia, which are known to be not very much democratic, Zimbabwe, among all countries, are ranked better than Kenya. What is the problem in this country?
I think we don't have political will. The countries that we've mentioned that have done, they've made progress where women leadership is concerned, are countries that have made deliberate effort to ensure that women are in positions of power. If you see Senegal, I went down in Senegal in 2016, and I went down to rural Senegal.
Yes.
The women are empowered. The government had created an economic program, an agricultural economic program, recognizing that women are the ones that run agriculture in Senegal, and therefore giving them incentives of owning land, of buying fertilizer, and they were the ones producing food for Senegal. So a government continuously making progress and effort to ensure that its women are empowered and its women have the tools to succeed, then you will see that country excelling, even in leadership positions. In this country, I will ask you, have we done that?
That is, I think, a very important question.
In Malawi, the other day when Joyce Banda was the president,
Yes.
they had a surplus maize. We were buying maize from Malawi.
And she dismally performed in the next election.
Yeah, well, she was
because
not
she was
elected,
not elected.
But when she was
What
the
informs
leader,
that? Yes.
when it's patriarchy. I mean, there's nothing else to say, whatever. It's not because women cannot be good leadership. It's just that people are socialized to imagine that the boy child is a better leader than the female child. But look at it. When Malawi had a woman president, we bought maize from it. Kenya, we have got the best climate. Tropical Africa. We have got rains. We've got arable land. We have got very little dry land, but we are buying maize. We just bought maize, billions worth of maize.
So are you blaming this to bad, poor leadership? Or the men?
Patriarchy. Because of patriarchy, we do not give people capacity. I mean, officers that they have capacity to run. We give our friends offices because they are our friends, not because they have proven leadership skills. If you get proven leadership skills, you will not have bad leadership policies. You will not be importing food in 2017. When we have how many acres in Tana River set aside by the government, billions of money pumped there, and we didn't say a grain. We imported instead, we imported maize. Ask yourself why. Is it because the people there do not know that we can grow maize there and irrigate it and get more maize? No.
Florence,
Florence is telling you about Senegal. I was in Senegal myself. The education standards of the Senegalese woman are far much behind than the Kenyan woman. The Kenyan woman is a very educated woman. Just go to our universities. Do now an analysis of who is who in the banking sector, for instance. The bank managers have overtaken the women, have overtaken the banking sector. Maybe they are not in the boardrooms, but they are running the banks. They are keeping your cash. Successful banks have invested in women managers.
So you expect the same thing to be done in government?
Yes,
now,
of course.
Florence, for example, there are 47 women representatives in parliament.
Yes.
There's so many people who are asking, what are they doing to change leadership? If women leadership is that rosy and good?
Whoever is asking that, I will ask them. We have had men representing us since we got independence. What have they done? What do we have to show for the male leadership that we have? These women, pushed by the Constitution, is when we have had women representation. We are trying to catch up with what men have been having all these years. So to expect them in 2 terms to be doing more than the many men that we have in parliament, being even the minority, not being able to push in bills because of the numbers, then I think we're really pushing women to do what is impossible at the moment, given the numbers they have within Parliament. Yes.
Josephine, the country, of course, Kenya is just from a fresh election. Of course, it was highly disputed. That is a debate for another day. But women did somehow better. There are women governors now compared to 2013. How would you rate the 2017 general election?
For the women of Kenya, we still did not do what we expected to do. We got 23 single constituency MPs, up from 16 last time. We have 3 governors. We didn't have any. We have 3 senators. We have 94 women MCAs. For us, okay, it's a step in the right direction.
Yes.
But we could do better because we have 52%. That means that women have capacity to elect women, given an opportunity and education to understand that these women can make good leaders.
Florence,
now,
yes.
now, just before you leave the
Yes.
issue of women and elections, you are a Kenyan. You were here from March 2017 to August. There was so much violence, so much was done by our people in leadership to make sure that the women did not compete in a fair playing, whatever. We saw a lot of violence meted against women at nomination level, across political divide, without any exception. And therefore, that reduced the number of women who offered themselves for leadership. We were told in 2013 elections, we had an equal percentage of both men and women being elected. The women, the statisticians told us that the women who offered themselves for elections, 13% went through. Similarly for men who offered themselves, 13% went through. So the same number of men and women were elected. It's just the ratios that were different. So what we would like maybe policies to see is that even at nomination, there is no violence. People are given an opportunity to compete on the ideology and policies and issue. Not who is stronger now, who can hire more goons, who can buy more changa, who has more money. No, that is not what makes leadership.
Florence, I think you've delivered your point fair enough. Now, Florence, let me get this clear. This might sound like an ignorant question. Are you linking good governance directly with women who are in leadership? Does it necessarily mean that if women are in leadership, then naturally good governance is there?
I'd like to see more women so we can do comparisons. If we had more women in leadership, we would be able to see. Right now we're talking, if we just talk governors only, we'll be talking 3 out of what? 3 out of 44. So 44 and 3 really we can't compare. If we had 20 and 24 or 20 and, you know, like almost half and half.
Rwanda, let's go continental,
Yes.
not narrow down in Kenya alone. Rwanda has about 63.2%
Yes.
women leadership in that country.
Yes.
Does it mean necessarily that, you know, things are perfect there?
We're not saying they're perfect.
Because they have democracy issues.
Yes, but the democracy issue, we don't want to go there. We know where it's coming from. But what we see in Rwanda, developing economically, growing, you know, empowerment of... You can imagine how many young girls who are seeing the leaders up there feeling and doing in schools and doing much better than those of us who have no role models to look up to right now. So 3 for me, we cannot compare. When we get to 20, we will compare women leaders. Yes, because then we'll have a half.
Josephine, apparently, let me just go back to the research I was telling you about. And apparently, Africa's chance of an elected female president only came in the year 2006 through Salif Ellen Johnson, who contested in the presidential election. And of course, she won. In 2015, apparently, Mauritius also had its first elected female president. I mean, why did Africa have to wait up until 2006?
I think culturally, and I don't even think it's a cultural thing. During the colonial times, and as we evolved into a society, there was a lot of emphasis put on the importance of the boy child, patriarchy. And the girl child was seen as someone who will leave the family and go get married. And these are cross-border in Africa. It's not just a Kenyan problem. But evolving from that, and you know, statistics have shown that where women have been allowed to take leadership, things are progressed. The reason why we talk about gender inclusion is because the way we are physiologically made, we are made differently. And therefore, we're supposed to bring different things to the table. And if we bring those different things, there is, you know, a balance of ideas. And that makes, you know, issues move faster. The way you see this glass and the way I see this glass are 2 different things, because we are structured even our DNA structures is different.
Yes.
But if 50 years after we have become self-independent, and after we've taken the girl child on equal basis to school, we're not seeing the value of that girl child. And not because we're saying suppress the boy child. We're saying give the girl child.
Actually, that is the conversation out there right now.
An equal opportunity. No. Give the girl child an equal opportunity to also show that she's able to lead. And I've just given you a chance. I want you to do a research on the banking sector.
Yes.
Because when I became a lawyer a few years back, there were more male bank managers as opposed to today. Today, most banks and successful banks have invested in women managers. Why? Ask yourself. Why can't they, when we do the same for our country, and give leadership at the top to women? If you look at the things that, for instance, Sarah Serem put together at SRC, 1 minute she out is being eroded in a day. It's not because Sarah Serem wants the MPs or the people in public service to have less money, but she's just being cautious. This wastage is costing development in other areas. And therefore, she put in measures that was going to benefit the country as a whole. But the people who are now eroding this are looking at me, not looking at what is the impact of that me culture, which has existed in this country for all the years we've been self-independent to date. Where are we now? Why are we buying food in 2017?
Yeah. We're going to talk about the future of African women leadership, of course, the future of women leadership in the continent. But again, research indicate that, women are not taken seriously by men who believe that, women are less competent than their male counterparts. And these are some of the, obstacles, perhaps, for women out there, because it seems women have to, work double compared to their male counterparts in order to succeed.
It's true, women have to work double to just get to certain places. If we even just take do a statistical research on in terms of just salaries in the same positions, even in this country and around the world, you will find the same job I can do and somebody else can do, and we are equally educated and everything is qualified. Maybe I can even do it better. You'll find a woman getting less. So the fact that we are not valued in the marketplace and in the political scene, it finds that when we go for elective posts, even the Mwananchi down there thinks, no, I'll elect a woman, she'll get pregnant, so she won't come to work. Those all manner of, myths that for me do not stop a woman from doing her duty. Because if we can carry a home and run a home, what is so difficult in terms of just leading a community or leading a constituency?
Yes. Yeah. And apparently we're supposed to wrap up. We have a few minutes left. Josephine, let me be generous with you first. Yes. And can you perhaps tell us, how does the future of women leadership in Africa look like for you? Now, I think at this moment we have only about, is it one African leader is a woman?
Yes, one president.
Yes.
We have a vice
Salif
president,
left.
Salif has retired, but I see a great
Bearing
future.
in mind Kenya's women candidate, who, the likes of Martha Karua, Charity Ngilu, they all perform dismally when it comes to
I just say, I equate it first of all to patriarchy. And we must, destroy the structures of patriarchy. Because until you destroy the structures of patriarchy, where in the rest of the world where they have done away with those, there are what I would call in trade, international trade, non-tariff barriers. There are barriers, but you cannot see them. Then we will get good leadership. If we get women to the top and we allow a good number of them to come to the top, we will see a change in the way this country is led. For me, I see a great future. When I talk to the younger generation, and especially now, because they don't see the struggle from where the Fibia CEOs, the, Nyiva Mwendwas, where they started.
Yes.
They see an opportunity where they're able to go to school, become rocket scientists, become doctors. I mean, a few years back, the only careers that were reserved for women was nursing and teaching. That was the highest you rose to. Now we have women lawyers, women doctors, women aeronautical engineers. Of course, as time comes by, they will offer themselves. Actually,
sorry to cut you short, we also have a lady representing Kenya in the Winter Olympics.
Yes. I saw that. And what we are seeing is an increased capacity by women to grab the opportunity.
Yes.
And I keep telling my male counterparts this, there will come a time when the Kenyan men will want that gender rule to be a reality. And I'll give you an example. In October, I was in Norway,
Yes.
and I met a member of parliament. And she told us they have a 40% rule, where they must have either gender in public spaces, committees. But they would like to go to parliament and get it removed because they don't have enough men offering themselves, and therefore a lot of community things and public spaces are not being filled, or they're not being operationalized because of that.
Yes.
For me, I see a generation of women coming, go-getter, ready to take the bull by the horns. And I'll just give you an example of the current LSK elections that are in Kenya. Although we had one woman candidate who withdrew, we have 19 women competing for the same space with 21 men. Next time, we probably have 37 women and 7 men.
Florence, as you make your final comment, thank you for that. And why does it sound like there's a sort of a competition between men and women? Because women leadership is not just about women, right? It's about the entire country or a continent, because women are like some sort of a pillar of a family. So do you think women should package their way differently when approaching the men folk when it comes to, especially the two-third gender rule, for example,
I think men should change their mindset. It's not about women packaging themselves.
Yes.
I think we've been on this road before, or maybe we should have talked this way, maybe we should have said this way. No.
Yes.
It is provided for in the Constitution. We expect it to be done at least as per the Constitution. And like she says, there'll be one day when you'll find there are more women leaders and less men leaders. And the same things we are asking for will definitely benefit the men when that time comes. But as part of my closing remarks, for us to see a future where African women leaders are, where we have more African women leaders, these women and girls need to be safe.
Yes.
At the moment, we have challenges, or even during the election period, where women have violated, you remember Millie Odhiambo and the rest who went through a lot of violence. But also I have seen that even for the girl child to just come up to where she is, she has to surmount a lot of challenges. And the one that is really that bothers me a lot is sexual violence, which has continued to permeate in our society. And for me, I want to see a future where we have shelters, where we have protections, where we have structures that protect women or the most vulnerable in our society, given the statistics that we have on sexual violence. Once that is done, I think it will also benefit the men. Yes.
Florence, thanks a lot for your input. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Florence Bashir is the Program Manager Equality Now, as well as Josephine Mongare, who's the FIDA Kenya Chairperson. I'm sure the women folk who are watching, you've given them some sort of very good Valentine's present.
Yes, and we want them, when they happen, we want them actualized.
I would like to see, I don't know whether we still have a minute.
Let me give you a minute.
Okay. I would like us to look at it from a fairly different angle.
Yes.
The family unit as the man and the woman. And for that unit to continue to exist, both have their roles to play. Let us not forget that house, when the mother is not there, things don't function. If you exclude that woman, things don't function. And therefore, for us, even at FIDA, we are looking at things from a totally different angle. We'd like to have families that are together. And as we do that, because we know the government structure starts from the family structure, so that when those families are strong and they are together, then both men and women play their different roles, complement each other, and we have a better, a developed country.
Well said, Josephine. We're out of time, unfortunately.
So we hope you have some flowers before we leave.
Yes, well, we have a red carpet, we have a red studio. Anyway, thanks a lot
for having
your
us. Thank
input.
you.
And that has been our interview tonight on Bottomline Africa. Once again, let me revisit our earlier breaking story we had for you, and reports that from South Africa that, Zimbabwe's opposition leader, Morgan Tsvangirai, is dead. Until his death, of course, he was the MDC leader. And apparently, before his death, he was critically ill in a hospital in South Africa. He has been Robert Mugabe's long-time adversary, and many expected him to contest against the current ZANU-PF leader, Emmerson Mnangagwa. Of course, he has been the leader of Movement for Democratic Change, MDC. Mr. Tsvangirai is 65 until his death. He was a former Zimbabwean prime minister and has been receiving treatment since June last year in Johannesburg, in South Africa. Of course, still we're getting scanty information, but we're going to piece together crucial information from there, and definitely we're going to bring it to you once we have them. Many thanks for watching. This is Bottomline Africa. Once again, my name is Yusuf Ibrahim. Remember, this program is aired every Monday to Thursday from 10 to 11 p.m. Until tomorrow, bye-bye and have a good night. Thanks a lot.